So for this podcast, we should have a trigger warning at the bottom. Goes, don't worry, no one else listens to it either.
I'm not looking at a running order, mate. So you can do whatever the you want.
Woke Asian Guy
and Egg White.
Hello, dear listeners, and welcome to the Woke Asian Guy podcast. If you like, or even if you don't like what you're listening to, then just feel a bit sorry for us poor idiotic court jesters. Please find something in your heart and please go to patreon.com or buymeacoffee.com/wokeasianguy. I think they're the right addresses. You can correct it if they're not, and just throw some pennies to us so we can carry on talking cobblers.
You f***ed that one up, Egg White. It's actually /Fuzzy Dice Comedy.
Well, just insert that seamlessly in the bit that I just said.
Egg White, you know how this is going to go. This podcast contains descriptions of racism and flashing of uncircumcised genitalia, as presented at the Edinburgh Fringe 2022. Please don't listen if you have a heart condition or plan to lift heavy machinery. So we were talking about Mark Thomas. I was talking about his politically charged comedy, which he's always done for, 37 years, as he admitted himself. We're going to go to the Jerry Sadowitz bit, but this ties in with that. The strangest thing was his hour-long show, 3/4 of the way through, he stopped because someone in the audience said something, and he goes, what? Sorry, what are you saying? Apparently, some guy in the audience just said out, I'm very offended with what you're saying. Now, why was that guy there? Okay, he's probably there because he's Mark Thomas and been there for 37 years, performing, doing the same kind of like thing. The man drove a tank through McDonald's, for God's sake. Do you know, that's how political he is. But someone in the audience was offended, even though they paid 10 quid to watch his show. You know what you're going to get. You're going to get politically charged comedy, railing against all these politicians, calling Boris Johnson an absolute for like 5 whole minutes with some very funny comedy. But why? Why would the audience member just sit in the audience?
Highbrow.
You go to any comedy show, do you get people to go, no, I'm very offended. I don't know what's happening with the state of comedy at the moment. So, okay, what happened with Jerry Sadowitz then?
Why did they not take this and then cancel the rest of Mark Thomas's run?
He kept it on the right side of political comedy. He didn't take his cock out. He didn't make racial slurs. There is a fine line of where you can. He did stuff that was political.
If he had taken his cock out, would it be immediately?
It would be very unbecoming of a comedian to take his penis out. Yes.
Okay, you tell me what's acceptable. So like undoing the flies.
That's acceptable.
Getting the cock out just out on stage.
That's
floppy.
I would say that's unacceptable for Mark Thomas to do.
Regardless, now any comedian we're talking
anyone
about,
who does that is having a slow nervous breakdown.
But surely stand-up comedy, when you are vulnerable when you're on stage as a stand-up comedian, and
yes.
by getting naked on stage, if it's done in a non sort of threatening way,
yes,
non-Me Too kind of way, then surely that's just emphasizing those vulnerabilities when you're on stage. I mean, like, it'd be different if he was on stage, had a massive rock on, and we started spaffing in someone's face. But,
yes, that would be wrong.
Okay, so any kind of cock coming out is instant cancellation.
It depends on the person that does it. Put it that way.
So cock out, right?
Yes.
Dressing your cock up like Boris Johnson, doing the willy copter and going.
Well, the penis is technically covered, so yes, you could do that.
Right, that's going in.
Yeah.
Come and see my Edinburgh show next year. Bring your binoculars. If you were Jerry Sadowitz, cancel straight away. You agree with that, do you? Should you agree with Jerry Sadowitz being cancelled for getting his cock out?
No, I disagree, actually.
Okay, so for just cock out, Jerry Sadowitz, he's fine. He shouldn't be cancelled, right? Jimmy Carr.
If he took his cock out, yes, he should be cancelled, or at least being brought to have the book thrown at him. Essentially,
why?
He just does jokes. If Jimmy Carr is on stage and he takes his cock out, he's having a slow nervous breakdown.
Eddie Izzard.
Okay, the context is any comic has a certain set routine, and if they come out of the parameters of that routine, it's going to be unbecoming.
But surely,
so, would you sit in a bus and take your cock out?
I did do an Edinburgh show on a double-decker bus, but my cock didn't come out.
Yeah.
But
So it stayed in.
If I was doing that show again, right, on a bus, and I got my cock out, dressed as a cat, should I be cancelled?
Yes. You should be cancelled generally anyway, but yes, with your cock out, you should be cancelled.
But because all I'm hearing, give me if I'm being kind of quite naive or basic on this one, just basic bitch. But all I'm hearing is that the comedian can't do that. All right, okay, whether or not it's acceptable is a different question. But the comedian can't do that if it doesn't fall within the realms of what they normally do. And surely going to an arts festival, you should be, like the whole point of the arts festival is to kind of challenge yourself and push yourself with kind of your art form.
Yeah.
So what your opinion about that is surely that's very conservative. I'm not saying all comedians should like come on stage and start waggling it around. And just saying if okay, so Jimmy Carr, no, he doesn't normally do that. He just normally does very, like joke.
Yeah, he just does wall jokes. Yeah.
But if he tried to do this, then no. But surely that's
the other thing is he's not an offensive. He's not an offensive comedian.
No, surely that's just quite a narrow-minded way of looking at it. Though. So you, as the woke Asian guy, is quite narrow-minded.
No, I'm not narrow-minded at all. I'm quite broad-minded.
Okay. So talk about Jerry Sadowitz. What do you know about Jerry Sadowitz? What do you think? What do you think about Jerry Sadowitz?
You make racial jokes. He'll make jokes about everybody. He has a history of taking his cock out. He does all of these things. He's designed to be offensive. Yeah, there's a documentary which you sent me a link of. All the other comics saying, yeah, he's groundbreaking. He's doing all this stuff that no one else is doing. He was breaking down barriers of offensiveness and opening probably 3 doors down of offensiveness.
So has his comedy ever got him in trouble before?
He got punched in the face at the Montreal Comedy Festival.
Yeah.
And okay, can you tell the audience why he got punched in the face?
He came on and he said, "Hello, me."
Yes.
And then what happened? He was beaten up for that. Because that is basically what people think, that he was beaten up for saying "Hello, me." Right. But the joke was, "Hello, me. I'll tell you why I hate Canada. Half of you speak French and the other half let them." Right?
Yes. But that's his model to offend everybody.
But that wasn't actually the contentious point. The contentious point that I think got him beaten up was, why don't you speak Indian? You might as well speak the language of the people you stole the country off in the first place. Which is not like that's. I only found this out after the event. And did you know the full joke?
No, until you actually, obviously after it hit the papers, then obviously they talk about the historical context of previous contentious jokes that he's done, and they put the whole thing in
context.
Yes,
context. Today's word of the show, is context. Just like a sly little joke about and play on the fact that English people supposedly don't like the French, and then why don't you speak Indian? You might as well speak the language of the people you stole the country off in the first place. Now, is whether or not like wherever you were sat and what you think is funny, do you think that was worth kind of hitting someone for?
I mean, I think Jerry Sadowitz probably just looked at it after the show and went, yeah, that was worth it. Just the comedy value. That's at least another 10-15 years on his career, because everyone talks about it. That's as simple as that. So
do you actually know what the joke was that he said supposedly that someone didn't like?
Tell me, Egg White, what was it?
So someone said, this is obviously from Twitter, that reliable source.
Well, no, it was in the Scottish Sun, wasn't it?
I was at the show. He called Rishi Sunak a P word, which I'm not going to say, and said the economy was awful because it was run by blacks and women. Now, in isolation, that is a pretty horrendous and damning statement for at least 2 reasons. But the thing that we don't know and we can't really comment on is the whole context of how that that line came about and the setup of the joke. So my question to you, Wokie, is it all right to say something which is potentially quite contentious and could offend if the context of how it's said is then perceived as not that? Is it still okay to even say it?
I'll answer it in a different way. I don't think he should have been cancelled for that show, for the simple fact that he's just being Jerry Sadowitz. It's as simple as that. He got his cock out. He made the P word, which I got no problem with coming from Jerry Sadowitz, because he's Jewish himself. And I'm sure all the Canadians have forgiven him. And the context is he just does offensive comedy. The big problem is, I noticed at Edinburgh, a lot of the venue staff are in their early 20s. So there seems to be a bit of a weird shift. And apparently it was the staff members that complained about it. So there is a famous comedy critic who watched the show, and he made a post afterwards saying there were no walkouts, everyone laughed, no one looked offended, everyone was absolutely fine with it. Then after the show, apparently some of the staff members were uncomfortable. And like I said, a lot of the ones I see that were organizing all the tickets were in their young, early 20s. I didn't see anyone older than that. So I think some people were just offended, not knowing the history of Jerry Sadowitz. They just didn't know the past history of the fact that he does this all the time. They just looked at him and goes, he's taking his cock out. That's offensive. That's really bad. Shouldn't do that. And there's this weird, pervasive kind of like layer on this year's Edinburgh Fringe of there's a knee-jerk reaction to someone doing something offensive without the context and the history being involved in.
And I don't just want to sound like an old fart who is obviously much grander in knowledge and like has far more wisdom. I really don't. I'm a clown. I don't know anything.
Yeah.
But so you've got these younger people who are dead set in their ways and opinions.
Yeah.
And they think that they know and can dictate what is then seen as right and wrong.
Yeah.
Is this right? And they're looking around, and probably the other people, as you said, are probably the similar age, and they're kind of going, well, no, hang on, this isn't right because you're saying it's not right. I'm going to agree with you. If you had people of maybe of sort of different age and different backgrounds, then they might kind of look at it and kind of go, yeah, but he's referencing this and he's trying to do this and all the different and list all the different nuances and all that kind of thing. Maybe and having that a bit more sort of diversity, people they wouldn't kind of get so offended by it. They might still, they might kind of obviously still come together and kind of go, it is really offensive. It still is really offensive. Are we really going to get like a kind of a diverse sort of mix? You said someone was kind of offended at the Mark Thomas show. I don't know how his response to it. But
one audience member,
if this person had gone to the venue and complained, then it might have been perceived in a similar way. The fact that obviously he didn't kind of say anything which in isolation could be seen as extremely kind of misogynistic and racist, but and sexist. But it's still he could have still been cancelled in a similar way. No,
he's done the Fringe in previous years, and everyone's accepted the fact that that's the way he rolls. I think this year, I didn't feel anyone there doing the tickets was into the comedy as much as previous years, maybe, or previous.
Interesting, because let's look at it. So there wasn't a comedy last year. There wasn't a Fringe last year, as in person.
Yeah.
Because of COVID still, or 2020. The last one is in 2019. So in that space of 2, not in 3 years, but two Fringes.
Yeah.
What's happened? I think that's the interesting question, and that's the question we should answer in the next podcast. Bye.
This program was filmed in front of a live studio audience, written by Egg White, produced by Wokie, a presentation of Fuzzy Dice Comedy.
There you are, cliffhanger. As in walking off a cliff with a noose around the neck.
Offensive comedy is now becoming out of fashion. And you've got these far right wing people like Jim Davidson all going, freedom of speech. Everything should be fine. He should let him do his comedy, which, you know, I agree in the context. As long as you're not being political, then you're just like, you know, it's just jokes. When Roy Chubby Brown got cancelled for his live show, it's just jokes. It does it to an audience that understand it doesn't veer towards the political side. It's not stoking up racism or anti-immigration policies. It's just jokes. And if you can understand the fact that he does that, the reason why you asked earlier on about Jim Davidson is the fact that he's now going beyond comedy and going towards actual far right. I mean, you might as well have Enoch Powell on stage doing jokes and comedy.
When I said rivers of blood, I meant my wife was on the rug, but everyone else thought it meant immigration. Does that make me racist? Well, it does now. Anyone here see the irony of Priti Patel being tough on immigration? She even tried to get her parents deported. She'll have to visit them in Rwanda from now on. I've been Enoch Powell and you've been a great wide audience. And next up, Jim Davidson.
It's as simple as that. That's blurring the lines. It's as simple as that. And okay, Salman Rushdie's not exactly a stand-up comic and all that. But what happened to him has now deep, I know. What's happened to him? Ricky Gervais, of all people, has now thinking about getting bodyguards to be all on the stage or just below the stage to stop anyone coming up and try to attack him. That's now the comedy. After what happened to Dave Chappelle, some guy just tried to, you know, he got saved by Jamie Foxx of all people, singer, songwriter, actor, and now part-time bodyguard.
Warrior, yeah,
a part-time warrior, and he's got his own podcast as well, which is more popular than ours. But that, I think, is the problem. I think that's what it is. It's now people becoming easily snowflakey offended, and even the top reviewer, Kate Copstick, has been writing multiple articles about the same thing. It's a very weird atmosphere where now comedy is like, okay, you have to stay within the right side. You can't push it too far. You can't say anything that's grossly offensive. Jerry Sadowitz thrown under the bus. Mark Thomas not thrown under the bus because he doesn't do anything offensive. He just makes political commentary, and his base, which is the audience, are of the class where they'll agree with him that Boris Johnson, Liz Truss, Rishi Sunak should be basically thrown under another bus and reverse the bus over them again. It's as simple as that. He didn't go to, it's not his business. If he started doing racist rhetoric, yes, maybe he should be called to task on it, but he doesn't. He just keeps on the right side of it and makes a point. Everyone's got their own agenda, is what I'm realizing now. Everyone's got their own key structure of what they do for comedy. And now people, not the audience members for Jerry Sadowitz, but the venue staff are now a bit snowflakey.
Do you think it's as predetermined as that? Everyone's got their own agenda for comedy.
It feels like it. But do you know what Jerry Sadowitz will do? He should get people who know his comedy to run the venue. So the Pleasance Theatre should be called to task extremely for not holding their nerve and not putting on the second Jerry Sadowitz show. It's as simple as that. Whose side are you on? Are you side of the don't offend the venue staff, or the side of the fact that this guy's been doing this shit for, what, over 30 years and carry on doing it? If you don't like it, what's the problem? Audience not complaining?
I should have had a bit of a due diligence to, you know, to at least research what kind of show it's going to be. It's not. I mean, he's been doing it for decades. It's not as if it's going to be a new thing. Yeah, I see.
But you know what they should do?
Leading on from that, I just want to ask. Ironically, aren't we kind of going backwards in? You know, we're now the accepted kind of comedy is going to be the tea time kind of humour. You know,
yeah, it's going to be Ant and Dec. You might as well just have the whole of Edinburgh with Ant and Dec clones everywhere doing nice, safe comedy. Then the 4 million people that come to Edinburgh are not going to come to Edinburgh anymore. It might be 3 Mormons and 4 nuns, because that's their core audience.
I just want to say that Ant and Dec probably wasn't the best choice that we could have used to dictate that point, or to show that point, because their writers are quite often quite young, aspiring, you know, like keen alternative comedians. So if we can just, you can do this later in the edit. You can just think of another tea time.
Well, okay. Well, who else can we use them as a reference? Dick and Dom, Starsky and Hutch,
Michael Barrymore.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, Michael Barrymore sort of cancelled him.
Literally, no, we don't have to name names, but surely we're getting to like the point is,
yes,
that alternative comedy was kind of born out of trying to get away from the club circuit. So with where Bernard Manning and Roy Charlie Brown kind of were initially, on what they were on, as well as kind of like passing kind of comment on like quite safe comedy like The Good Life.
Yes.
And I'm thinking of where Rick Mayall in the episode of Young Ones, where they start having the Good Life theme, and then Adrian Edmondson, comes in and breaks down, tears down the opening credits of The Good Life because they're just so bloody nice. So, do you think we're kind of getting more to the bloody nice?
Yes, we are.
Do you reckon that's where comedy's going to be? And so, ironically, the Fringe, which is supposed to be on the fringe, is going to be this like nicey nice.
Well, look, the Fringe is not the Fringe anymore.
Another Fringe, like evolving, which is going to be. So the Fringe is going to be, like actually mainstream, and then there's going to be another Fringe, which is going to be, again, everything goes back round that kind of alternative scene. Do you think we're at that point? Is that all that's happening? We're just kind of going around, looping back round in a circle?
No, everything's just going backwards, basically. So freedom of expression has been attacked left, right, and centre. Jimmy Carr talking about the gypsy jokes. But that wasn't stoked by any audience members offended. That was just the press saying, "Oh, isn't this bad?" Then running with it, basically. So they manufactured this kind of outrage. What we should learn from this is the fact that there should be a warning for any kind of like extreme shows. So where it says Mark Thomas's poster just says Mark Thomas, black and white.
Hang on.
What it should be.
But Jerry Sadowitz had a warning.
The
whole show.
The warning wasn't prominent enough. No.
The whole show.
Egg white. No, let me finish. So Mark Thomas's poster just says Mark Thomas, black and white. And everyone who's going to watch the show knows what they're going to get. But underneath, it should say this, like, what's his name? Those kind of like 15 and 18 rating warnings that they have before films. It should be that. Mark Thomas is going to be political, going to be very anti-Boris Johnson, and going to make some offensive comments about some of the politicians. And you have that underneath. So you can see the fine print underneath. For Jerry Sadowitz, it should just basically be he's going to make some racial jokes and get his cock out. If you don't like that, don't take the tickets. Go to another show and do their tickets, and we'll get someone who actually is not offended.
Break this down, right? So, firstly, Jerry Sadowitz's show was called Not For Anyone, I think, and it had warnings, right? So
that's not enough. You have to interview some of the venue staff and some of the audience members. It'll take longer.
Hang on. Secondly, you just said that it should say Mark Thomas's show is going to have this, this, and this, and this, and this, and if you're offended, don't read this and this. Surely you're then getting to you're doing the golden rule of comedy, which is not to, you patronise the audience, and that is kind of completely patronising the audience, like making out that they can't understand what they're going to see and perceive that this is just a show.
Yes, I'm going to cut the comedy nose. I'm going to cut the comedy nose to spite the comedy face. If that's the way the state of comedy is going to be, so you can actually look at the food groups and go, "Oh yeah, no, that conforms to my taste." So if you don't like the old cock out, go watch something else. Go watch some wishy-washy, safe comedy where someone's talking about their feelings or got dumped by their girlfriend, which seems to be every new act that they're doing.
Hang on, but talking about your feelings, that's not safe comedy, is it?
Well, no, yeah, but the context. Yeah.
No,
It's a vague term. No. I'm doing a broad term. Now you're trying to specify. Yes, but some people can talk about their feelings, in a dark sense, but I was just literally telling you, talking about the side where people talk about the feelings in the light sense.
To describe safe comedy,
I'm asking you now.
I let you speak. You let me speak.
Okay.
You described safe comedy,
Yes.
and then you tried to be funny by saying, "Oh yeah," them trying to describe all their emotions and everything and then all I did was then just trying to understand and pick and go into depth about that one point.
Okay.
Which I think that one point is not safe comedy. That's not the norm. Then surely that's not safe comedy. So what I'm asking you is, what is safe comedy? Give me an example
I just did.
of.
So what's your No, you tell me what is safe
Give me
comedy.
an example.
Then.
What's your example?
My example, I just said it's something that is not offensive to anybody.
Like what?
Okay, someone's car breaks down. There you go. That's safe comedy because it didn't drive into anyone, didn't run anyone over. It didn't kill anyone. It just broke down. Then they go to this big monologue of how upset they were. You tell me what is safe comedy then.
Give me an example of a show, is what I'm saying.
No, you didn't say that. So you're saying that just now.
Okay,
Come on. No,
okay, your example.
Safe comedy. No, you tell me what safe comedy is. Come.
Okay, yeah, okay. Well, going on your example being someone breaking down,
Yeah.
my example of safe comedy is someone turning the light on.
I said safe comedy is something that doesn't offend people. You explain to me what is safe comedy.
No, I agree with your statement, and I'm just
no. You give me your description of what safe comedy is.
That's why, like, you know, you even have to go, oh, spoiler alert, you know, because it might. But everyone, I don't. Why are we saying spoiler alert? Because everyone wants the spoiler before they watch the thing anyway.
So what's your point?
You go and see a show, and if you don't know exactly what's going on with the show, then you're not going to see it because you might not like it. You might get offended. Hey, I only want to go and see things that I know exactly that are going to be exactly my cup of tea.
Yeah.
Because you might go and see something. Heaven forbid you go and see something that you thought, well, it's not really my type of thing, but I went to see it and actually I ended up liking it, or I didn't like it, but they had a few interesting points. Well, most of them were complete bullshit, but it's given me like an insight into this way of life, or this, however, doing something like this. Surely that's what is great about art and challenge and the art and the whole art form.
Yes.
But now we've basically devolved into what is it? What's it? Oh, okay. Oh, don't like that.
All right, well, that's been our show, Egg White. We will come back again. Outro, Egg White.
Thanks for watching. Yeah, ta-da.
Woke Asian Guy
and Egg White.